redemption arc taking place here.
Yeah, this is a redemption. So the last time we shot this Russian current service rifle, the optic was not performing, despite the rifle being okay. So this is a brand new optic. Well, brand new. It's a clone. It's a Russian-made clone that we purchased before the war started.
Which one do you think I should aim at first?
You should wait till there's an explosion.
So I'm ready.
Okay, Henry. Let's start at 150. Come on, Vasily. I hear a bomb explosion. Yes, we use the explosion to muffle the shots. Impact. Nice! Oh, yes. The smell of 54 rim entering my nostrils.
The smooth cycling action, as you can see.
All right, I'm on at 200. Impact. All right, I got it.
So there is wind blowing in. Now it just shifted directions. It was going from left to right. It's kind of like a 45-degree right now. So
Definitely left to right downrange.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, I'm on at 250. Dead center. Send another. Impact. That one splashed on the right of the plate, Henry.
All right.
But
this is not the easiest match trigger that we're used to. I mean, it's not even like a nice, like I say that lovingly, it's not even a nice AK trigger.
Yikes. Okay, 300.
Okay.
Give him a hat if you were head level, right?
Okay.
Go to the top of his head, crown of his head, okay?
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, those were lower third of the plate.
All right.
Okay, we're on at 350. All right, were you holding low at 300 meters?
No, I was holding dead.
Okay, you need to go up to head level. Nice impact. Were you dead on the head on that?
Yes, I was. Well, no, I was off to the kind of the shoulder pocket on the
yeah,
left
okay.
side.
Push further to the left edge of the plate. Impact, dead on.
Nice.
Fire when ready.
Sorry, I've got to load up.
Oh,
I don't have a detachable magazine. You see, it has a magazine. It just doesn't detach. But you ready?
I'm there. Left edge.
Left edge.
Press just off the left.
Okay.
Impact was good, solid elevation on the right half. Dead center.
Nice.
450.
All right.
Just off the left edge. Dead center. Send another. Nice.
Sick. It's quite an animated response from the target.
Yes, indeed.
This one, I'm going to bump it up to 500 meters and I'm going to hold low just to see how we do it.
Okay, at 300, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
500 meters, belly hold basically,
Yes.
and just off the left edge, yeah?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, sounds good, I'm there. 500. Press another quarter target left, send another.
Sounds good.
Impact.
Nice. How many misses? One?
One miss.
One miss. Okay.
A little different than the last time we shot this, huh?
Slightly different. So, I mean, don't judge by how things look. I mean, this thing has like rust and crap all over it, but
More,
more, he
More!
says. More, he says. Oops. Sorry. More, he says. All right. What are we looking at?
650. More.
650. Okay, more. I'm going to hold the 600 meter elevation and then hold it dead on to the left.
Yes, I'd be pressing off of this probably, what do you think? Like a quarter target left?
Yeah.
Hold. Wind shift.
Okay.
Right to left wind now.
Right. Oh, shit. Okay. I'll just give it like a dead hold.
Just off the right edge. All right, 9 o'clock, edge of the plate. Impact.
Nice.
More.
More, he says. More, he says. Okay. All right, let's go to what, 7?
Yeah, this is gonna be 725.
Oh man, I could barely. There's not a lot of.
No, it's hard to see even through the camera.
Yeah, it's hard to see with the optic as well. I got it. Let's just see. I'm gonna push it to the left of the target. 700 meter hold.
Okay, that was just over his right shoulder. Press just left of the second stake and go to a base hold. Okay, that's the elevation. Go left stake, back to the left stake.
Got it. I think I saw the impact.
Just splash just left at 9 o'clock on the target.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, boy. More, he says. All right, we shall entertain this. 800?
Okay, what are you going to do here? 800?
Yep, I'm going to do a similar hold off.
Yeah, okay, left 3/4 of a target, okay?
Okay. I feel like it's hitting above it.
Yeah, windage looks really good on that. Going out.
Okay.
Go ahead, yeah, let's just try a foothold.
I'll give you another one just to see if you can get a sighter, okay?
Yeah. Impact.
Nice.
Wait, no.
Wait, no?
No, splash, 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock, okay.
I didn't hear it. It looked like an impact, but I didn't hear anything, and the plate, there's so much mirage, dude.
Yeah.
There's so much mirage. It's hard to
No,
tell.
I heard, like, I guess it was a pistol shooter in the back cleaning plates.
So, okay, so that might have been 12 o'clock, so come even lower.
Okay, 12 o'clock.
Over the top, I'm pretty sure. Thought maybe it was splatter or splash on target. Impact!
Nice.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah, that was a definite impact.
That was very, very obvious.
Like, you could hear that, like, slinging 175, 174 grain, 54 rim. Just
Let's go, dude. Sick.
So, a drastic difference between this one and the last one, and the huge difference was the optic. The optic. Who would have thought, right? If you don't have a good optic, you can't hit your targets very, very well, it turns out.
If your optic doesn't hold 0, the rifle will not be able to hit targets.
Ugh, this like magazine isn't working correctly. But anyways, I mean, are we happy?
Dude, we happy.
We happy. All right. So the Mosin PU, like, I'm actually kind of glad that we did a poor job on it back. Well, not that I did a poor job, but like the example back then had an issue, because with better spotting equipment, with better sighting experience, with a better optic, and now with our style of filming to where we do a proper debrief after it, I'm excited to reapproach the Mosin PU. Of course, legendary. The Russian snipers, the Soviet snipers back then, were legendary in the fight in not just Stalingrad, but the entire Eastern Front, in draining a lot of Wehrmacht resources, manpower, holding their formations down. And honestly, on top of that, the employment of it's just like the Soviet Union was so vast and so grand. I think one of the snipers, of course, we know Vasily Zaitsev with a movie made of him, but there was another one. There's a Siberian guy. They called him like the sniper shaman or something like that. And of course, me looking Far Eastern kind of resembles that type of.
Do you want us to
soldier.
start calling you the sniper shaman?
No. I'm not Bravo 4 qualified. But however, the interesting thing is, like, when you look back at a lot of those Soviet snipers, like in the World War II, a lot of those snipers, they were just farm boys. Like, there were guys who had spent a lot of time outdoors, with their upbringing, spending a lot of time behind the rifle, understanding what a rifle can do at places like this, at ranges, or hunting, or shooting competitions. Same thing with Simo Hawa, the White Death. So when I look at rifles like this, I mean, it most certainly makes me think of back then the guys who were behind these things and really the capabilities that they brought to the Soviet army. That said, Josh, this is far from Soviet-Russian weather. Do you have anything to add to this?
I just, you look so good in the Gorka, sweating in this Texas heat. I kind of just want to drag this out a little bit longer. We'll see you all on the debrief.
See you guys.
Henry, there are redemption runs, and then there was this redemption run. The Mosin sniper coming back on the course 3.5 years later, and smoking it. Absolutely crushing it.
Brutality.
Dude, to 800?
Yeah, I mean, the legends were correct according to Enemy at the Gates.
Honestly, I bet you we could have even, if we were on the 1,000-yard tower, I bet you we could have even tagged the 1,000.
Are you saying that we need to shoot Mosins out to 1,000? Because I won't say no.
Well, you did it with the Finnish Mosin with iron sights, so
it should be cakewalk then. It should be cakewalk.
It should be.
And I will say though, it corresponded very well to the graduations too on the turret.
Well, and that's what we should talk about straight away, because if you guys haven't seen the original run, we had significant issues with the Mosin sniper, but we diagnosed, and sort of in the video, and I think Henry in a good deal afterwards, we diagnosed that the issue was that the optic was faulty. Was it a genuine? I think it was a genuine optic, right?
It was a genuine optic, and therefore it had genuine 1940s to the year 2000 and teens troubles. Like,
yikes.
I mean, you're talking about like a 70-year-old scope that doesn't use clicks for the elevation to stick. And so it was getting a little slippery, kind of like the ZFK 55. You remember the Swiss sniper? Same thing. It had the old I forgot what they call it. It's in French. It's a French word where it's a clockwork term where they use pressured grease to make it stick a little bit. It's the same mechanism on that instead of using clicks. And you'll know that on the German, the ZF-39s, it had the little lock wheel in the front for that particular reason, so it wouldn't slip. But here we are. We have now. I must say, it is a repro optic, so it is current Well, this came from Russia, pre-war. So it is a repro optic out of Russia. The blueprints that it used to reproduce it were the same, so the mechanism is the same, but the glass is a little clearer than what it used to be because of the coating. So they didn't use a vintage style coating. That said, you're still looking at a 3.5 by optic pushing out to 800. A 3.5 by optic with, talk about driving these like optic bros nuts with when you dial the turret, there are no clicks. Like the unsatisfaction to optics people, right? But it works. I mean, what more can I say? The optic mount though, this is this is not an actual genuine Mosin sniper. I mean, it is a counterboard line rifle. So it was a line Mosin that someone had sold me after they had already done all the work, to where like they put the base in, and you could see the base is a little different. The actual genuine Mosin sniper bases right here, it should be rounded. But again, despite all that, the score, I mean, you cannot refute the effectiveness of the rifle shooting all the way out that far. One miss.
Yeah.
One miss.
On the course, one miss on the course, and then beyond that, when we start to shoot to 650, 725, and 800, we're really sort of we're lobbing the rounds for that optic.
Which, I
So,
mean,
Henry, just really quick. You mentioned the counter boring. Go into that a little bit.
All right.
I find that particularly interesting, and it'd be interesting to share that.
Josh is not a vintage rifle shooter. Surprise. So when I told him that, it was the rifle is counterboard, he was like, what does this mean? What does this signify? So because Mosins were fed a steady diet of corrosive ammunition, sometimes the muzzle, the crown, could have been damaged or whatever. And one of the ways for the arsenals to fix them is to take the boring bit and bore through some of the rifling at the very immediacy of the muzzle, and they would bore down so that it would be counterbored, so there would be a little bit less rifling engagement at this segment. And that is to kind of clean up some of the corroded, the last segment of the barrel.
So basically the idea is that the barrel has been used and not maintained to such a degree that having the rifling at the end of the barrel, and then the destroyed or damaged sort of crown or end of the muzzle, it's actually better to simply have it be smoothbored at that area of the muzzle in terms of accuracy. And clearly, it worked.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you were able to shoot this to a great degree of accuracy, being able to adjust to calls of, hey, let's push it like another quarter target to the left, like go from left quarter to left edge. And we saw it actually then impact in accordance with that.
Right.
So it was shooting very accurate. And
then you can't refute the results, right?
Exactly. And then one final question here. For those that say, well, this isn't a genuine Mosin PU, got it. But wouldn't that actually make it more, like, doesn't this make it more interesting or better that your actual line rifle that's been counterbored, so definitely a rifle that has been chewed through, was able to put up the score of literally just one miss?
There's actually more of a trash can myth to my trash can Mosin PU, though. Because, Josh, this lock bolt, I actually turned myself. It was actually a bolt that I bought from Home Depot. Oh my! I just matched.
That's what that Home Depot credit card charge was.
We're doing year-end tax expenses, so Josh is asking me questions. But yeah, this was actually a Home Depot bolt because I lost the lock bolt, and I don't have a lathe at home, right? So I had to use my my drill press, and I put a file, like a heavy-duty file, on the side, and I just let the drill press run, and I was like lathing it down with a drill press. And then I used a Dremel to cut the cross slot for me to use a flathead to screw it in. And so,
did you use your beer can shims on this rifle as well?
I did, but it's an ammo box shim, so it's actually cardboard, like oil impregnated cardboard that I shimmed at the very end of the barrel in order to give it a little bit of an upward pressure to relieve some of the whippiness from the barrel. But yes, the trash can Mosin PU sniper. I mean,
held together with ammo boxes and Home Depot bolts.
It's same.
Dude, how much of this just goes to show, like, the whole Boogaloo meme of, like, you have all of this kit with, like, night vision and your decked out AR, and some dude with a trash can Mosin at 800 yards, just trash can.
Home Depot bolts and trash can accurizing methods. I mean, it's technically a current serving Russian Federation sniper, unfortunately.
That's even crazier, actually, when you think about it.
I mean, serving alongside of Maxim machine guns from the 1800s. It just won't die. It just will not die. So
for those who aren't like getting the joke here, the Mosin is widely described as, would you say, a trash or the trashiest version of the World War II CNRs? And
just because it's cheap, it's called what they call it the garbage rod. Just because back when we were starting shooting, you still remember I corralled a bunch of guys at college to buy a crate of Mosins, and we bought a crate of Mosins for $70 a piece. You remember
Crazy.
that? And
I do.
It came like covered in cosmoline, and everyone had to learn how to deal with cosmoline. But that's why it was called the garbage rod, because once upon a time, like even our younger years, these things were sold for so cheap. It was the last of the CNRs that the old timers would talk about back in the day. They get British Enfields at a hardware store for $30 in a barrel, and then ammo was super cheap. This was the last of that generation. Of course, nowadays it's no longer $70 a piece. But I almost feel like nowadays we're starting, because it's no longer $70 a piece, we start actually trying to figure out, hey, what can these things do, right? And it went from let's shoot this into the trash can, or let's shoot this into a dirt heap type of rifle, into a, wait a second, this thing, as terrible as it is, it's not that terrible. Let's see what it could do. And here we are, clearing the course
Crazy.
with one of the highest scores on the chart.
yeah,
I mean, not even just CNRs. It's one of the highest scores compared to all the other rifles.
yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I find also very interesting is in all of the research and whatnot that we've done over the years, at least that I've sort of been consuming, learning more about the employment of this type of firearm in its heyday. When we got to the 350 to 400 yard mark, we were already passing what the general engagement ranges for this rifle would have been, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, I did use hand loads, so the ammunition is nicer than the World War II issued ammo. However, still, even if you give it like 3.5 MOA ammunition, I would still be confident at that point you would be hitting that plate itself. Like, maybe you wouldn't be stacking it, right? But you would still be hitting it at that distance, which is well within the combat effective range of rifles for that era. But a lot of times, I think with the Eastern Front, a lot of people do compare, like the Mosin versus the Mauser, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I started off years ago thinking that the Mauser was absolutely superior. Again, it's $70 rifle that came out of the trash can. Like, are you really going to say that's better? But we were looking at it at the price it was being sold at the store, not looking at it as the core. What is this thing? Like, what can it do? I've come to really appreciate the Mosin Nagant shooting at distance because, again, look at the Finnish Mosin. It performed admirably. Even the line Russian 9130 shot just fine compared to a lot of these other rifles. I mean, it did have issues extracting and stuff like that, but afterwards, once I cleaned up the chamber on that one, it was fine. It's not. I mean, yeah, it feels janky when you run it, but I've actually read accounts of people on the Eastern Front, Germans, talking about how their Mausers were all sticking because of the lubricants that they were using being frozen, and the Russians were still shooting at them with these Mosins. It's kind of the AK of the World War II bolt actions. It will not die.
Dude, can you imagine your bolt freezing?
No, that's terrible. I cannot. We live in Texas.
Do you know the scene? You know the scene from Gladiator? The frost. Sometimes it makes the blade stick.
Yeah. Yeah. It will come out of the hilt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think for sure, I mean, I wouldn't go so far as calling myself like a Mosin fanboy. But most certainly I feel like, looking back at where we were with a Mosin, it's funny to make memes about it. It's funny to call it the garbage rod, but same thing with the AKs. I mean, we disrespected them so much back then. And it wasn't until you and I started this project and started really pushing these things to where we would kind of get a reevaluation like, wait, hold on. Like, this thing actually, with a piece of cardboard at the very end of the barrel and a little bit of TLC, this thing actually shoots decently.
So what you're saying is don't allow price point to exclusively determine value or effectiveness.
Correct. Well, it reflects value, right, for the supply and demand perspective, but not effectiveness. Those are two very different things. Now, I understand Rob loves his PSL, but compared to the PSL that we shot on the range, I would take this really cheap Mosin over that because I didn't have any of those issues that the PSL had.
Indeed not.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, I also don't think that every single Mosin is able to do exceptionally well like this one. I have spent a lot of time behind this one, this particular rifle, because as you know, I had to turn the parts out from Home Depot in order to make this one work, right? But I think a part of it is also because I got it in inventory, I had to get it working, and I had actually decent amount of 54 rim that I could kind of just screw around with this thing. I got a lot more trigger time. I got a lot more familiarity with it. And that's something that is priceless. That's something that you can't just go out and build into a rifle when you get, more time on a rifle. And familiarity, I think, is one thing that for this particular run really shown itself through.
I would agree completely. So our takeaways from this episode, Henry, are just because something's expensive doesn't mean it is the best. So the Poverty Boys unite, everybody cheer. And that training supersedes all, and that training is of the utmost importance. So
Yeah. Well, I mean like
we're really setting some major milestone standards here with our takeaways.
I mean, come on. Like, what do we say? Like, at the end of the day, like, if it's fun to shoot and it's something that you better yourself by doing, like, why not do it, right? Why not learn why not figure out your kit more and learn a skill while doing that? Especially like when Mosin Nagants were $70 a piece, instead of sneering at it and shooting it into dirt, we probably should have tried to play with it when ammunition, like, you could buy a case of 1,000 rounds for $80 back then.
Yeah,
Shipped.
crazy.
But at the end of the day, like, I think the other takeaway that I personally had is some of the things that we run on this channel may be a one-off. Like, we talked about the scope having issues, and we were able to rectify it and come back and see, hey, check our notes to see if our hypothesis was correct. And I would say this proved that the Mosin Nagant PU sniper is exceptionally capable. I do think that this is also setting us up to maybe doing an episode on the East versus the West, the German versus the Russian sniper on the Eastern Front.
You did the K98 already, right? You did the 98K Mauser already, sniper video.
Yeah.
So to the audience, if you want to see Henry do a breakdown of the Mosin snipers on the Eastern Front, perhaps let us know in the old comments section.
I mean, I've got to say though, like, even outside of pure performance, if you look at the way it was configured, you look at the way they manufactured it, it had a lot more logistical wisdom than what the Germans were doing. The Germans were literally there, like, at the end of their rope gathering hunting rifle scopes and whatever type of mounts that they can get and slapping them onto rifles, whereas the Russians had some form of uniformity as they were churning these things out of the factory. So just on the logistic front, you know, it already set itself apart. You know, having parts interchangeability, having a standardized system that the Russians would use, and knowing that this optic came from arguably one of the world's first SASs, semi-auto sniper systems. Like, the Russians were really onto something interesting when it came to sniper technology. And this is just a tiny sliver of that sniper technology that they've been able to push out, and it's been incredible. But here, I want to show something to the audience before we go. I know we're running out of time, but here, hold on. On the topic of Bubba and Mosins, and coincidentally, I had this gem laying around here. A gorgeous Finnish M39, pretty much untouched, except someone bolted a Dragunov PSO1 scope onto it. This is
pretty much untouched until it was touched.
Until it was deflowered, unfortunately. Yes. And then also, when it comes to peak sniper Mosin Nagants, the Czech VZ54 just came in from our friend Matt yesterday. So, we've got a lot of Mosin Nagant sniper content coming up, from the very worst Bubba jobs to the very peak of Mosin Nagant snipers, the Rolls Royce of Mosin Nagant snipers.
Fantastic.
What can I
gang,
say?
We appreciate it if you. Yeah, we appreciate if you've hung around and heard it to the end. You get your sneak peeks as your little reward. And as always, we ask for you to do all the good YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe. Go ahead and check out the Patreon if you are so inclined. Follow 9H Podcasts. And until next time, we'll see you on the range.
Загорание двух крайних диодов красных трансмагавки, рус влево, есть загорание двух крайних диодов, это не горят, трансмагавка. Выдаю рус на торможение, есть два крайних диода, не горят, трансмагавка и на развод. Есть два загорания двух крайних диодов, не горят, трансмагавка. Про закончил. Выдаю ППС исходное.